Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of No Holds Barred, our sort of stop bookend, pretty much bookend that we have at the end of every journey that we do. This one, as you can see, up there, Super Mario Sunshine. Well, it doesn't say Super Mario Sunshine, it's actually just showing the completion screen with all of the shines, but whatever, or at least the tally. Either way, we've just finished a full completion run of this game. It's actually been pretty alright. Must admit, wasn't entirely sure in the first episode. You can go back and watch all of these streams here on the channel. Well, I say here on the channel, they're archived here on the channel, but there's a quick rundown. First stream, not so brilliant. Like Super Mario 64, I actually struggled quite a bit getting my head around the controls. Don't know why, I think it's just because I'm not used to 3D platformers at the best of time, and it definitely took a bit of time of warming up. Playing on the Switch, by the way, Switch version, not the original GameCube. There are apparently some changes, one of which we'll get to in the gameplay section, but otherwise, yes, pretty much worked fine. So, how was the game? Well, story-wise, you are on Mario. Of course you are. It's a Super Mario game. You are on an island of Delfamino, whatever. There's an island shaped like a dolphin. You, Princess Peach, and some of her staff, including Toadstool, go on a holiday vacation in the sunny tropical climes. You arrive. The Earthstrip's been destroyed by a giant gooey piranha plant. Not good piranha pant. That's something else. Piranha plant. You save the day. Sort of, and then you're arrested, because apparently you're the one who's been graffitiing the entire island with mysterious paint. However, this is not the case. There is an imposter, Mario. And then that leads you into cleaning up the island with your helpful companion, Flood, who is pretty bland, if I'm perfectly honest. Flood's only mainstay is really some of her dialogue in the final boss fight, and even then, I really didn't know what she was saying. I just heard Mario, and then that's it. It's just a case of, oh right, she's telling me tutorial stuff. No, it was actually story-related stuff, but I didn't notice because she's not really said much all game. So it is what it is. But yes, that's basically the story of it. You run around, you collect the shine sprites, like that, like Power Stars in Super Mario 64. You save the shine sprites, you save the day, and all is good and all is golden, and the end. Not the most deep of stories, one must admit, but certainly a story nonetheless. Graphics-wise, well, I don't know if Nintendo actually did any sort of remastering on this. If they did, it was pretty much just upscaling it to 1080p. Game looks good. Game looks fine. I think it looks good, so there we go. Only thing is that if they did upscale the in-game renders, they didn't do the same for the cutscenes, because the cutscenes still look about 720p, to the point of if you're playing it in HD like I am, then, well, I say HD, I'm playing on a 2K monitor, so it is what it is. But if you're playing 1080p standard HD, it's probably going to look a bit lackluster. I think the cutscenes are running at 720p, if that. They're a bit grainy here and there, so they've not aged particularly well. The voice acting, this is the only Mario game, as far as I know, outside of the Philips CDI ones, I suppose, that has voice acting. At least in voice-acted cutscenes, and yeah, voice acting was fine. Yep, can't fault the VAs for any of their work, really. Even Bowser sounded quite good. What else? Gameplay. Well, we've done graphics. Graphics are fine. Music. Mario game. Music's is outstanding. You're hearing some of it playing around in the background now, which is probably going to get me a copyright claim or something from YouTube, but we'll see what happens. Music's outstanding. Always is with a Mario game. Can't fault it. Brilliant gameplay. It took a bit of time to warm up to the gameplay. Going to be honest. Never really found a use for the triple jump, never really got it working when there was the same story for Super Mario 64. The backflip has probably been my saving grace. The game certainly, I've definitely used the Flood's hover option. You've got two options, main options with Flood. You have shoot and you have hover. Hover is pretty much what I spent the majority of my time in the game using, to which Mario looked like an ultramarine with backpack things, but there we go. So yes, the gameplay, other than that, passable. Jumping works fine, platforming works fine. Mario's momentum, however, can be a bit of an issue because sometimes he will overshoot jumps. He feels heavy, he doesn't really slow down at all. and that can lead to a few issues, hence why I was using the Flood's Hover option as a crutch, mainly just so I had an air brake for half of it, or so I could precisely position Mario. It doesn't... Admittedly, it has been a long time since I played Mario 64, but it doesn't feel nearly as tight as Mario 64. There are also a few glitches here and there, one of which I've encountered a few times, mainly in the final boss fight, where you will clip through the ground, to the point where at least a small handful of my deaths in the final boss fight, which was a good challenge, by the way, I can't fault it, but I can fault the fact that part of the requirements was me to do some small levels of platforming, which was not particularly useful when I tried to jump out of the way of danger and then clip through the ledge I was landing on and plummets to my death, basically. So that is not particularly useful. Can't say that was particularly fun, but there we go. Had that with a bridge as well in one of the chapters, where I tried to use a slide to speed up crossing the bridge and whoosh, straight through and down. Yoshi is also in this game, and they've put a timer on Yoshi. Not entirely sure why. Well, in fairness, I can see why, because Yoshi can get stuck. There are some areas, because Yoshi can't grab onto ledges, sometimes you can get Yoshi trapped, as I discovered, and yeah, there's that particular instance, so maybe that's why there's a timer. Either or, I can't complain too bitterly about that, but it was certainly annoying in at least one of the challenges that I was trying to complete. Anything else in terms of gameplay? No, jumping's fine. Flood, I enjoyed the flood mechanics. Once I got to grips with them, some of the button mapping is a bit weird. Yes, and in the remaster, apparently, and it's been a long time since I played the GameCube version, and I never finished the GameCube version of this game, but apparently there is a certain function of Flood where you can, like, use a precise snipe shot. Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. Not a major issue, because 99% of the time you're just running around the map and you can spray and it's fine. However, there is a particular puzzle in a casino later in the game which requires precision shooting. This does not exist. Actually, probably the boats, now that I think about it. There are some boats that you power by shooting Flood backwards out the back of the boat, and that's how you steer. Something tells me that was probably, the sniper shot was probably also quite useful for navigating the boat. So, getting rid of that, yeah, it's not a game breaker, but it certainly made something more difficult to do. Mentioning the boats, I don't like the boats in this game. There's some boats trundling around Doflamingo Plaza, and the timing's a bit weird on them and they're a pain in the neck, but I can't complain too bitterly because they do their job and it's fine. However, there's small controllable boats, one of which you need in the final level, which are a pain in the neck and does require a lot of thinking and a lot of thought and a lot of just tapping on the shoulder buttons of the controller, because otherwise you crash into things and sink and then you burn to death in lava. So, no, I'm still a bit bitter about that one. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts and feelings about Super Mario Sunshine. It's a good game. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's the best Mario game, but I've heard two things on Super Mario Sunshine. One, that it's an alright game, and others that it's just abysmal and it's like a black sheep. But they said the same about Mario 2, and I enjoyed Mario 2. So, yeah, the American version, the one built off Doki Doki Panic, not Doki Doki Panic? Oh, am I thinking Doki Doki Literature? No, hold on. Whatever, the Doki Doki Panic, the one that was just a reskin of Mario. I enjoyed it, so there we go. But yes, I could see why it's a black sheep. I don't mind it though. It was a good game. I had fun after the first few levels, which took me some time to get used to controls and a bit of annoyance here and there, but otherwise, yeah. There's a few really, you can tell of the age because there are a few really tight challenges in it, which, yeah, I can't complain. I can complain at the time because they were a pain. One of which is blue coins. Blue coins, you have 10 of them scattered throughout the level. You have to go and collect them most of the time. Not too bad, especially with a guide. Some of the timings, though, where you have like 2 bits of graffiti and you spray clear one piece of graffiti and then a blue coin appears in a different location. Some of the timings there can be really, really tight. Really pushed my skills, actually. So, that was all right, but really annoying at the time, if you get what I mean. But other than that, yeah, I think that's all my thoughts on this game. out there in the open and recorded for posterity, or whatever that word is. So with that said, yes, Super Mario Sunshine, definitely can recommend. If you can find the Super Mario 3D All-Stars pack for the Nintendo Switch somewhere around, awesome. If you can find a working GameCube and a copy of Super Mario Sunshine originally, even better. But for now, I've played the 3D All-Stars pack. It works. Super Mario 64 worked, Super Mario Sunshine works, next to Super Mario Galaxy, but that will be our next break game many moons down the line, considering we've got a few other big games that we need to get through in the process. But now, with that said, to each and every one of you, may you all have, well, first of all, thank you for watching, thank you for joining me for this No Holds Barred. If you enjoy what you're seeing on the channel here at the moment, please consider hitting that like button, please consider subscribing to the channel, it really helps us grow. And hey, if you ever want to catch me live, you can find me streaming over on twitch.tv/GuardEzio, where we do silly stuff like this all the time. Mainly 100%ing games or full completion runs if I'm feeling particularly insane that day. In this case, full completion run, 120 shines, done and dusted, wasn't too bad. Some of the platforming was a bit of a challenge, but nothing I could say. It certainly got easier the further into the game I got, which to me denotes a good game. You start bad, you learn the controls, you get better, and you grow as a gamer because of it. That is a gold standard for gaming, in my opinion. But yes, I think that's everything. So with that said and done, to each and every one of you, may you all have a beautiful evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever it is around this whole wide world you are. And as always, until our paths next cross again, the Vortex awaits. And I'll see you all next time.